The all-strobe version of the Whelen Advantedge is essentially an edge shoved into an Advantedge frame. Some of the benefits are you could put the lower outside lights on it, and you could combine rotating lights with it. But the all-strobe version essentially consisted of shoving the edge components of the day into the Advantedge package. Years ago, I bought one. There were some interesting things I had been told about it. I've been told it had a strobe piercer. Not really sure that played out. What I got was, I think, supposed to be this, which is the piercer powered the strobes that were not in the center, and the center was utilized as flashing takedowns along with the other flashing takedowns. I did like this clear, unfluted center, or flanking the center. As you can see, the piercer single flash rapid strobe is the strobe next to the center, not the actual centerpiece like it should be. But what that does, I think, is it gives the center a wider flood and the outer sides a more spot sort of flood. It's certainly unusual. That's how the bar would been kind of built out when I got it, but there were things missing and I never really dug in. This is what it looked like when I dug it out the other day. There was all sorts of white flashing to the rear, which is something I don't like, but I did fall in love with this clear unfluted window where the piercer module supposedly hid. One of the bulbs was missing. But you can see this is an edge essentially modified to fit inside an Advantedge frame. It really wasn't in bad shape considering. The reason for some of the things not working was actually things being disconnected or bulbs having been removed. It's pretty much a 9000 turbo strobe series, twist lock series edge shoved into the Advantedge frame. The piercer 2 was dead, so I popped a new power supply in and grabbed 2 new twist lock strobe bulbs and set about putting it back to the way I was told it was, which was the strobes for the piercer being within the takedown module, not in the middle. And I do have other bars in my collection where the middle fluted optic is a takedown light, but I've not seen the piercer moved outside of there. I've also, of course, seen the piercer in the center section. That's not uncommon. But to reverse them like that, I thought was a unique idea. I was a little disappointed that they had kind of bailed on it. But in the end, I was able to put it back together the way that I think it was intended to be. I think it ended up turning out pretty well. I did some dry runs with it after building it out. And the flood portion and the flashing portion of the floods or takedowns, I think, are pretty effective spread out the way they are versus the standard center piercer. I like the design, and I really like that non-fluted clear lens section to the front. You're pretty halogen heavy. It's actually got 2 halogen flashers. I don't know if you can see in slow-mo here that the piercer speed single flash strobes are actually the what would be the inboard strobes normally on an edge. The 4 turbo corner strobes are powered by the edge power supply, which is on the right hand side of the video right now. It would be on the driver's side. There's pretty much all the brains are, besides that power supply, are packed into the back of the center section. Maybe here you can see the piercer portion firing a little bit better alongside the the halogen options to the front, which do serve as flashers and takedowns. I was pretty pleased with it by the time I was ready to button it up, and it wasn't as bad as I remembered it being. Once I got the lenses on it, it really became apparent that the separation of the takedowns from being right next to each other under the clear lens to being split between the center fluted lens and the side non-fluted lens really actually did make a difference. It was a nice pattern, and flashing them I think separated rather than right next to each other as they would have been gives a nicer effect. It's kind of hard to appreciate the piercer strobe option, which isn't on here right now. All that's on is the flashing halogen. Here's all the strobes firing. You've got your comet flash 4 corner strobes, and then you've got those clear piercer strobes that are in the unique position that I mentioned. This is one of several Advantedge bars that I bought years ago and just kind of stacked up and didn't really investigate or attempt to repair. I was happy with the fact that it came with close to what it was supposed to come with, and I didn't really get into it at the time. Over the last few weeks, I've been digging them out. I'll have a couple other videos of Advantedge light bars that were purchased years ago and never really explored. Both rotator and combo, and I think this is the only all strobe. You can see that fluted end cap is in nice condition. The bar itself is actually in very nice condition, better than what I expected. The idea that you would shove edge components into an Advantedge and not put any of the exterior bottom outside lamps on is kind of interesting to me. There's really no reason to build an Advantedge light bar with all edge options unless you utilize the part that's unique to the Advantedge, which is being able to put lower exterior lamps, which this bar most certainly did not have. And I think that actually added to the uniqueness appeal for me, was that we had essentially built an edge light bar in an Advantedge frame with none of the quote advantages of the platform. We'll get into a couple different run-throughs of slow motion footage showing different features on, different features off, maybe help you appreciate the unique placement of the piercer strobes or the spread out of the floodlights, and let you see the comet flash corners a little bit better. There's a decent amount of slow motion footage. Skip through it if you like, watch it. It's not for everyone, but I did actually get a pretty good variety of shots as far as features on this bar, so you can do some comparison as to what you think the unusual or atypical options bring to the table. So feel free to watch to the end and watch the slow motion footage, or not if it's not for you. But thank you for watching thus far and for watching in general, and I'll have more similar content soon to come.